Hello everyone, my name is Ntanzi and welcome to the clan. So without further ado, let's get into this video. But before we get into the video, please do me a favor by smashing that like button. Guys, we are doing well with the like button because we keep getting 1,000 likes consistently this week, and I highly appreciate you guys because we are almost at 15,000 new members of the clan. So let's continue doing this because it is helping the channel to grow, you guys. I highly appreciate you every time you click the like button. But guys, I don't want to take too much of your time because I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I don't drink, right? But if anybody has bells, that someday in the near future when I meet Mr. Zulu, I'll be like, you deserve a bell, brother. Because hey, today he was a pleasure to watch. What Mr. Zulu was doing, he was mopping the floor with the state's submissions when they closed their case or the closing arguments in the past 2 days on 50 pages. A whole advocate takes 50 pages reading them. Takes him 2 days. Bageti. You know, this reminded me of my days when I was a little boy, and not a little boy, and I was told that do not let those street lights go on without your little butt in the house. And then it so happens that the sun goes down on me and a couple of street lights are already on, and I'm thinking, oh, I know what's about to happen to me. So what do? I drag my feet going home because I know by the time I arrive home, guess who will be standing in the doorframe? My mother with a belt. Why? Because I violated one of her house rules. So it felt the same way about Baloy reading his closing arguments, and it took him 2 days. Why was it dragging so long? It took Zulu literally half a day for him to complete his closing arguments, and he was doing it from his head. It was beautiful to watch, people. Beautiful. But let's get to the Knockout High Court. And then let's discuss how I understood Mr. Zulu in his closing argument. Guys, if you've been following this channel for a hot minute now, you would have known or heard me say, nah, it does not matter what the state says at this point in time in the trial within a trial. The fact, yes, I'm saying it, the fact of the matter is it all went wrong when accused number 1 and accused number 2 were arrested. The unlawful arresting of the two gentlemen. Because when they got arrested, were they read their rights? No. When they were being dragged to all these places and made them to point and somebody takes a photo, did anybody explain their rights? Okay, let's leave the rights part. Let's say they did explain their rights. We heard isiZulu, what's his name again? I keep wanting to say Makubo. The other guy who says, I come from Limpopo, and when I moved to Pretoria in the 1980s, I lived with Zulu people. And then Advocate Msholo was like, okay, cool, we get you. But now, can you say those rights in isiZulu? Brothers, do you remember those days? Hilarious that the internet almost broke because of that witness. And already that's a constitutional violation of a person. Why didn't I have a proper interpreter that was going to interpret in isiZulu? You see why I say, even as a coconut as I am, and I understand English, and I think I have a good command of the English language, I will still want my statements, samapoisa, written in isiZulu. Simply because I understand that a word in English can be interpreted as many ways as well. You saw yesterday, just to bring you very, very close, Advocate Baloy, together with Judge Ratha, they were laughing about how the defense did not specifically say something in the statement. In my mind, I'm like, but if you look at it honestly, they did, but because the word in English can be played around in many different ways, and Ratha can make a decision on the basis of how he understands the word. And not, I think when it comes to interpretation, there is intrinsic and extrinsic explanation or meaning of a word. Extrinsic meaning You can use as many words as you want around this one specific word, but intrinsic, it means exactly that. There's no going about the bushes about it. It means exactly that. Just like ARPing. If somebody says, I have been violated because I said no. No has no any other word except it means no. But if you come with a word like yes, so that yes is like, is it a yes, or yes, or I need to read between the line of this yes. Do you understand? Those three letters can really, really mess up your life. So that is why I would write my statements in isiZulu. And I would also want it to be read back to me in isiZulu. And when I get to court, I want the right interpreter to interpret what I had written. As a matter of fact, I would want the entire process to be in isiZulu rather than in English, where I will find myself being hit by an interpretation of a word that may actually get me into deeper trouble than I am. Just an idea, and also probably an indirect advice to anybody that might find themselves in a situation like this. The Senzo Meyiwa murder trial should teach us so many things, as well as how you need to always mentally have a camera in your mind that if you are taken in a suspicious way by the police, do benchmarking just like Ntanzi did. Without benchmarking, because it's correct what Mr. Ngomezulu said. The police had recordings. They had pens, they had books, they had all of that, and they could record everything. What did Ntanzi have? What did Muzi have? Nothing. But what did Ntanzi do? He used this and said, well, Gauteng is not a place that I'm familiar with, but I am going to benchmark. Oh, there's a sign saying Orlando here. Oh, if I throw my eyes a little bit of a distance there, I see a dumping site. Not that he's saying at the dumping site. And Baloyi and the judge tried to make a mockery about that particular citation by Ntanzi. But the truth of the matter is, when that Dupriya person was on the stand, Ngomezulu did ask him that if you show these coordinates in picture, is there at least a dumping site nearby? And he said, yes, he does see a municipality dumping site. Now, of course, what's his name? Ntanzi comes from KZN and he works in Northwest. How would he know all of these things? All that he did was to take mental photos of the areas that he was taken to. And that was brilliant. Brilliant, because I believe that played a major role in the closing arguments of Mr. Ngomezulu. So let's talk about what Mr. Ngomezulu basically told the court, which is something that we've been talking about since the beginning of the trial within a trial. When we started hearing things, I'm going to be looking down my notes now and again just to remind myself what exactly we heard in the closing arguments of Mr. Ngomezulu and what we've been saying all this time. And then we'll make a conclusion, because my conclusion probably is going to make you happy or make you extremely mad. If you get mad, I'll have a strong shame. The first one is unlawful arrest. They say that, remember what they did? They went and got Ntanzi and Muzi in a prison instead of their home addresses. Kind of like gives you a bit of an idea of what's going on with the AKA alleged murderers. We heard what they said. They first got them arrested for something and then they brought in the AKA murder. Which is why in my mind I'm like, why are we experiencing deja vu here? But anyways, let's continue with this one. No warrant of arrest. Remember, we did ask, were any warrants of arrest for Ntanzi and Muzi? None. Even Kininda himself said, no, there was no need for a warrant of arrest. What? And yet the Criminal Procedure Act is clear. Let's not also forget about search warrants of the houses that were broken into by Gininda and his ilk when they found the so-called ammunition and what have you else that they were looking for, a hoodie, and then they found something else. Search warrant, where was it? Oh, by the way, already in Northwest, a magistrate court threw that case out because there was no search warrant that was obtained in order for them to go and break into Ntanzi's room in Rustenburg. And then the Nongoma issue. We were like, wait a minute. So if he is charged with Nongoma issue, shouldn't he have also been in court in the first 48 hours for that charge? So how come they just say, oh, you are arrested for the Nongoma case? And to date, he's never appeared before Nongoma Magistrates Court. Then after that, they bring the Senzo murder. How is all of that constitutional? How is all of that constitutional? I want to know, because Section 35 of the Constitution is clear on people that are arrested or detained. Their rights must be read. Within 48 hours, they need to see a magistrate. Some people say you need to greet the magistrate. So what was the special kind of South Africanness that Ntanzi had that no, he did not have to appear in Nongoma Magistrates Court for the arrest of a murder, which was very strangely, weirdly was brought up because it was already a concluded matter where somebody, apparently this person is late now, a Buthelezi, was convicted for that particular murder. And he is now here basically to say, I didn't say all that stuff that is written in that statement, which I still believe it was fabricated to make Ntanzi, or maybe to strengthen whatever case that they may have had on Ntanzi, or paint Ntanzi as this serial murderer and inkabi that pushes guns and therefore we said that Ntanzi was definitely kept in jail unconstitutionally. He was unconstitutionally arrested and unconstitutionally kept in custody of the police, and then he was dragged to all these places for 40 hours. 40 hours. You cannot tell me that is not inducement. Then the other thing that we found out when Muzi Sibiya was on the stand about pointing out, you remember, I was like the crooks. So they just take you to a certain place. You are fearful because already they've scoped and dondored you. They have electrocuted you. You are fearful for your life. At this point, uvutiwe. You are now ripe to do exactly what they want you to do. And of course, Muzi did say, I had no any other choice but to save my life. As a result, I did what they asked me to do. They took him to a place in Vosloorus. They made him point. And somebody took a picture. And then they come and present this in court as though it was Muzi Sibiya who voluntarily took them to this particular area, pointing the directions and then the pointing out. The crookedness of some people is ununderstandable. Incomprehensible, I think that's the English word. My God, understandable. Because you can't say ununderstandable. Anyways, let's continue. Even Ntanzi did say, at this point when I was electrocuted, I was tubed, beaten, and even probably starved, because I don't believe the KFC story is even true. And then it was quite sad to hear it being a point of mockery between the state, Baloyi, and the judge yesterday. I was like, wow, how cruel can you be? A whole human being was deprived of food and water, and the only water that was used on him was the one that we're going to hurt him with. I know people. So even Ntanzi himself, he said, I had to protect my life because I've been through it already. Ntanzi even expanded by saying, I was alone. Nobody was there to help me. So none of these men that developed a conscience and said, guys, no, let's leave him or protect him. But no, they all come to the stand covering each other up. Natural justice. Karma. So we also said in this channel that both Muzi as well as Ntanzi, they were consistent in their testimony. Irrespective of, there was a contradiction here and there's a contradiction there. The fact of the matter is, from the time they were arrested unlawfully, the judge is pushed against the corner here. In fact, against the wall. Just like he was pushed against the wall when Cronje, there were recordings and things like that. And he had no any other choice but to dismiss that particular audio and not admit it into evidence. After listening to Baloyi's rant yesterday, which he called closing arguments, I kept asking myself, bro, but you need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt these things that you are saying. Where is the evidence that says that he failed dismally to prove the state's case beyond a reasonable doubt? And the most interesting part for me that the judge was trying to pin on the defense was about Mjiako. I'm glad that Mngomezulu reminded the judge that, no, I cannot violate the principle that the state is the one that needs to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Mjiako is actually an attorney. Let's start there. And also the state had to prove that Mjiako was the legal representative of Ntanzi. But no, let's leave that part aside and let's violate Section 35 of the Constitution, because he's supposed to have defended Section 35 of the Constitution by saying, here are the evidence that shows that Mjiako was the legal representative of Ntanzi. Here are the phone calls that was made by Ntanzi to Mjiako. Here is the payment, or whatever proof of payment that, Ntanzi paid Mjiako, or maybe a family member of Ntanzi, since he was already incarcerated. Show paper trail of something that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that Mjiako was indeed the legal representative of Ntanzi. No, the state does not do that. Why? What are they hiding? But it was very interesting to see Judge Ratha say, but you were supposed to call Mjiako. Was he even an attorney? All confident, and he always says that he knows the law. But how come he didn't know this law, that everything that is brought inside a trial, within a trial, in fact, in a criminal case, it is the state's responsibility to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this is so. But they dismally failed. They did not call him Mjiako. If I was Mjiako, I'll be very happy myself. Like, oh, at least I don't have to be called and get exposed of whatever it is that he might get exposed about. Because the clan has been asking questions about this Mjiako person. I don't know if we'll ever get the answers. I'm hoping in the main trial, he's going to be subpoenaed. Secondly, while I was listening to Advocate Baloy, I kept asking myself, so where have you proved that these confessions were obtained legally? Were obtained according to Section 217, according to Section 218, and according to Section 219? That they must be freely done, voluntarily done, without any undue influence, sober-minded, as well as in good sound. Where did he prove that? Maybe I missed it in his long presidential speech, dragging his feet, because he knew that he's uncertain about everything that he's about to present to the court. It sounded more like a speech to me than it was heads of arguments. Rights of the suspect in terms of Section 35 of the Constitution violated, including the pointing out why there was never an interpreter that was going to paint a picture to Muzi Sibiya and say, well, you are here because in Zulu. Now, the other big constitutional discrepancy I feel that is pushing Ratha against the wall is what transpired between Ntanzi as well as Miss Cronje. The first thing that happened, Ntanzi was brought by a multitude of battalions to Boksburg Magistrates Court, heavily armed, as if they were driving a serial murderer. Even Cronje herself told the court it's evident. She said to the court she was intimidated, probably fearful for her life, when she saw all these men in heavy gun machineries accompanying one tiny little man. At the time, I think it was 20-something, 22 years old. So if Cronje felt that way, can you imagine the inducement that the suspect, which is Ntanzi, was feeling? So that's a constitutional violation on its own. That's not voluntarily as well as freely, without undue influence, because you're looking at all these guns already. They've scop and done with you. Now, the last thing that you are thinking, oh my goodness, if I go off, I might actually get a bullet in my head. But what does Ntanzi do when he gets in through the interpreter, whom I think she's the biggest liar, and one day it's going to be exposed? He tells her that, listen, I haven't bathed, I haven't called my family, I haven't spoken to my children. Then, whatever she tells Cronje, but Cronje, it's also evident that she told the court that indeed Ntanzi did say that he did not take a bath and he has not called his family. But what does she do about it? She continues to take this alleged confession. Not only that, let's also not forget, even though it is a ruling already, the same magistrate, a whole magistrate, goes and violates the constitution of this country by not informing or seeking permission that she is recording everything that is taking place. But she tells the court, no, it was for my own protection. Protection from what? Protection from whom? In the main trial, I think she should be called and asked that question. Whom were you fearing when you started recording Ntanzi and the whole process that you were asked to preside over? It was a constitutional violation when Ntanzi told her that he hasn't bathed, he hasn't called his family, and all of that. She should have even asked, listen, did you even get an opportunity to get yourself legal representation? Even though there's a man in a suit that claims to be your lawyer. I still believe that this woman knows more than what she is basically saying that she said on the stand. There is something going on there. One day it's going to be revealed, I'm sure. Nothing stays in darkness forever, ever. Darkness as well does spit out some things because darkness does not last forever. Then the other constitutional violation that I felt the magistrate of all people, when Ntanzi said, I was arrested, I still have not been to court. Within that 48 hours. But no, what does Cronje does? She notices it and then she submits it to Ms. du Plessis. She doesn't stop the process and say, well, excuse me, what did you say? No, she continues doing whatever it is that she is fearful, I think, and she had to do what she was told to do. But as a magistrate, when you are told this, you are the officer. You are the representation of Lady Justice. And what do? You dribble Lady Justice by ignoring and sitting on your ears and turning the other way when the suspect is telling you that I have not seen a magistrate in the past 48 hours. I saw Ratha, what he tried to do today. He tried to play it down and said, no, but then Ngomezulu said, it's on record. It's on record. His favorite the student ran and got himself a copy of that. And in my mind, I'm like, but the state already presented its case. Why are they interrupting Ngomezulu? Why are they interrupting the defense? I felt like it was so disrespectful of Ratha, just cutting Ngomezulu and then from there seeking clarity from the state. The state already failed dismally. They've done their submissions and leave the defense alone. Let them tell you what they're telling you. If you have to go and confirm that, then go and sit in your chambers and then listen to what Ngomezulu, and then you come in your judgment and say, actually, Cronje did not say that. This is what she had said about the 48 hours. However, we are going to hear on Monday, as they had agreed, that the judge is going to look into this particular piece on Cronje's testimony about the 48 hours that Ntanzi had not seen a magistrate. Now, let's also not forget about the handcuffs injuries that Cronje saw on Ntanzi's wrists. What does she do? She does nothing. Not only that, even in that court, this very court, Ntanzi as well as Muzi, they did inform the court that they have markings of these injuries on their wrists. Even though, what's his name, tried to like, oh, did they go to the hospital? Who is going to take them to the hospital? Those men that caused that? Do you think they are just going to be like, oh yeah, let's take him to the hospital, guys, so that he will get treatment? Of course, the doctor is going to write a J88, I think it's called, and an investigation was going to take place. None of these men want to go to jail and lose their jobs. None of them. The same people that caused these injuries will not turn around and turn themselves over. There's no way. So, of course, this is part of inducement, including the tactical takedown. That is inducement. You handcuff the person from the back, you lift them off the floor with the same handcuffs tied around their back. What do you think is going to do to their shoulder bones? What do you think those handcuffs are going to do to their skin? But here we are. So basically, those are the points that I wanted to bring to your attention, because we've discussed these points before as the clan. That's why I love you guys so much. You are so clever. Everything that Mngomezulu said in his closing argument, we've already discussed it. We already said this, and that. But for us as the clan, we are sticking to the constitutional violations that were committed by the police, investigating officers, by Cronje, and including Ubaloyi. Those cannot be ignored. They cannot be ignored. Even though Ratha I think is going to dismiss the testimony of Makubo, because he says that what he did understand was basically submitting merits of the case, not the trial within the trial. Okay, cool. Can the defense call him to the main trial so that he give the merits of the case? Because I think that's where it's more relevant. Okay, cool. I will accept that. But the way Ratha did it, it was in such a cold, calculated way to Mngomezulu. And I could see Mngomezulu almost got tripped because of that. He tried to but Ratha tripped him. But to me, that is not a train smash at all, because the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa was violated when it comes to these two men that are accused of killing Senzo Meyiwa, or accused or alleged to have made these so-called confessions. So it's going to be very interesting how against the wall Ratha feels, because he is pushed against the wall by these constitutional violations, starting with the interpreter. The one that says, Mina, I come from Limpopo, I lived with Zulu people. Yeah, poison cool. Every time I think about that, not only do I get traumatized, but I laugh. I get it. I get it, he's not a Zulu-speaking person. But do not claim to know it when you know the job that you do, how sensitive it is when it comes to the Constitution of the land. The Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, I think, is Act 108 of 1996. It is the supreme law of the land. None of us is above it. Not Judge Ratha, not Gininda, not Advocate Baloyi, not even me. I'm not above, I'm not superior to the Constitution. And constitutional violations were committed. And as a result, these so-called confessions cannot be admitted into evidence. And I don't think Ratha is going to rule in favor of the state when it comes to this matter, because too many constitutional discrepancies were committed by the police, by Magistrate Cronje, and everybody. So these confessions, that's what gives me a good night's sleep, knowing that, well, they committed some constitutional violations. And Mr. Mngomezulu came and dropped those little bombshells to Mr. Ratha, just reminding him that the Constitution was definitely violated, sir. You cannot ignore that. So if anybody was grasping at straws here, it's definitely the state. And that is why Baloyi had 50 pages of his speech and took him 2 days to read it. And all he was doing was mumbo jumbo, blah, 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 gibberish, gibberish, gibberish. Yeah, accept the confessions. We employ this court to accept the confessions as obtained legally. You have not even proved it. You have not even proved it. Anyways, guys, on Monday, Mr. Ramusipili is going to be submitting his own heads of argument on behalf of Mr. Ntanzi, Bongani Ntanzi, who is accused number 2. It's going to be very interesting where he picks up from Mngomezulu, because remember the heart condition, the gold tooth that had to, what else that was mentioned? That was brought by the state, by the way, and the state still failed to produce the 28 tattoo, the gold tooth, the heart condition, as well as the dentist himself. Is he even a doctor. So let's hear what Ramusipili is going to be submitting to the court on Monday in respect of these pointers that I've just mentioned. Of course, they are laughable. Very laughable. How a dentist can do a full medical on a patient. Something that is not even your jurisdiction. What are you doing in my throat? You're supposed to be in my teeth. Only in my mouth. Not even my tongue you should touch. Oh yeah, well, you can touch my tongue. But you know what I'm trying to say here. But anyways, guys, if you like the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a like. Anyways, do subscribe to my YouTube channel. And don't forget to click the bell notification so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody that is super thanking the channel, guys. The super thanks keeps coming. I love this. Thank you so much. It's coming even from Australia now. Even from Australia, guys. We are flying all the way down under, and we are coming back with super thanks. I even saw one Canadian this morning. Thank you all you guys from wherever you are in the world, and you are taking a liking and fancy of the clan. Oh, we are so blushing right now. Thank you guys so much for that. We love you. Continue to support us, and everybody that is new on this channel, you are warmly welcome. Thank you so much for choosing us. Come here with your two IQs, rub them together, and then you leave a comment that is sound, that is sober, and respectful, and you are definitely going to get an engagement from all of us. And I do happen to read your comments in a segment called Self-Appointed Experts. Well, I've already explained where we got that from. I think I don't have to even explain it to you, because I think you will remember in the beginning of the trial how we were told that we were self-appointed experts. But anyways, we took the word and then we embraced it, and we cut off the power of offense or insult out of it. But other than that, guys, please leave a comment down below. Also, share this video far and wide. I'll see you next time with a new video. Goodbye.